Welcome back to the Glue Gaming channel. I'm your host Justin, and we're playing the Kerbal space program. This is episode 3. Here I'm showing you the assembly of something pretty close to the rocket that will successfully launch this mission. Our goals here are to test the parachute system, the BAAC-10 solid fuel booster, and the tricky one is this engine, the LVT-45 engine. What really held me up a lot on this is that you have to get it just to the right altitude and speed and then fire the engine. So rather than show you all the missions that did not succeed, alright, this is the rocket that really worked. I'll take you through it in real time now. And so the BAAC solid fuel booster is the first stage. Following that, we have a decoupler, and that'll fire one of the small boosters. So we've actually already got the mission for the BAAC rocket. Then I have to use a decoupler because we can't burn this engine off. But the second engine will actually burn off with a third engine. What do we actually have here? 5 stages total? If you're not counting the parachute, it's 4 stages. So for this stage of the game, it's pretty good. We actually get a lot of really good height here. Next up, after this mission, I'll go and attempt a orbit. And if I had really been thinking about it, I probably should have put a little more fuel on this and a couple more boosters, and I could have got the orbit mission all in one. But, that's okay, because meeting this altitude is really quite tricky. We're coming up on it now. We've got the speed requirement met, and we'll get the altitude really soon. There we go. I probably should have throttled that down because that engine was still firing, but fortunately it didn't run into anything. That would have been awfully embarrassing. Now we've still got a little while left in this burn, and if I'd really been smart, I guess I was just excited to finally accomplish this. But we've really got this mission. Now all that's going to be left is to bring it back down, deploy the parachute at the right time. So I'll speed this up a little bit, and I'll show you the parachute deployment, collect a little science, and then we'll end the mission. This is the part where Jeb gets to spend a little quality time, maybe have a nap, look at the stars. I figure there's got to be a reason why he took this job, and it certainly wasn't to risk his life all the time. Maybe it's stuff like this, though, so we can tell him to go out, take some readings while he's plummeting to almost certain death. But he got back in time, and now we'll make our turn and deploy that parachute. Figured it must be altitude. Okay, we have the altitude. Can we get the right speed? 490. Got it. Awesome. So a whole lot of tries, but we pulled off 3 missions. Now let's see what that sets us off at money, because that was a kind of expensive rocket, but maybe we'll save this engine because of the 2 radial mount parachutes. We're now descending at 7 meters a second. I think 5 meters a second or less would save it. But maybe we'll slow down. Still have quite a ways. 6.9. Yeah, I don't think we're going to slow down to 5. Once again, if I had saved a little fuel, I could have burned that at the end to slow it down. I wonder where I have monopropellant. It's an interesting... I guess the pod has a little bit. But you need thrusters, RCS thrusters, to use it. 6.7, I bet we'll blow that up. No, we saved it. Awesome. Cool. I like those radial mount parachutes. Well, let's stand it up here, have Jeb get out, take a surface sample or something. EVA report. Oh, that's worth a little bit. Cool. Yep, looks like dirt. Okay. That should do it. Now, if you can get back on the ship. Okay, F, grab. F, go inside. And recover this vessel. Now let's see. 11 science. Not a whole lot, but we're sitting at 43 now. I think we need 45. 3,000 funds from parts. And Jeb is sitting at 457 reputation. That's pretty good. We got $40,000. So considering we started at 10,000, this is way better than my first attempt. I was launching lots of rockets, not achieving a lot of missions. And yeah, let's just say we weren't doing so good. Alright, here we go with a bonus mission. We've accepted 3 contracts, and the first one was to try out the stability enhancer, which is just the launch platform thing that keeps your rockets up, so we got that one. Now here's the problem I'm having though. I've tried this rocket in 3 or 4 different versions already, and I've actually met the criteria for this contract to demonstrate the radial decoupler. And you'll see here in a few seconds, I meet all the criteria, and these rocket engines will burn out the boosters. And then, okay, now I'll activate the part. And no contract credit. So, guys, if you anyone has any ideas what's going on with that, probably just a bug with the game, and you know that's what happens when you're playing a game that's not finished. But still kind of disappointing. So now though is the fun part of the contract, and that is we're going to achieve our first orbit. Now
since I was kind of distracted about my disappointment and frustration not being able to achieve that contract, I should have already had this rocket leaned over to 45 degrees. But I decided to go ahead anyway and see what we can do. So I'm having a look at the orbit here. There we go. It is up there high and growing. Stretch that out. And our speed is doing pretty good. We're at 1200. I think orbital velocity is about 2,000 meters per second. So, I mean, we're getting close to that now. But see, I'm going way too far up. I think now is when I'm starting to figure that out, so I start pointing it down a little closer to the horizon. So let's see if we can stretch this out. Yeah, because my apogee is just way up there. But my landing point is still on the ground. Doesn't make quick changes. And this little engine is not really fast, but I like it because it's not using up fuel real quick either, so we have some time to think, figure out what we're doing. It is kind of the tricky thing about this game. A lot of the times after the fact, while I'm editing and watching what I did, it seems really clear what I should have been doing, but I think the real challenge in this game is learning what to do and when to do it, and figuring those things out in advance of your mission. Because during the mission, I know it seems like there's a lot of time to adjust, but really not so much. I mean, while I'm looking around here, I'm not looking at the rocket, and I'm still kind of trying to guess. Definitely should have kept that pointed at the horizon, but that's okay. Here will be the next problem. See, I really should have just waited to get to the apogee and then push this out, instead of thrusting all the way down here. I'll demonstrate that in a video I'll make today. How to achieve an orbit as efficiently as possible. We don't have a whole lot of fuel left. I do have to be careful with fuel. Tank only has a little bit left, and it's not giving me credit for this orbit yet, because still the lower end of it is really low. So I've got to get up to the apogee and extend out the orbit just a little bit. Halfway out to the moon. To call it achieving an orbit, so maybe we need to actually... I'll use the time warp here, and then we'll thrust toward the apsis. Oh, it's orbit. Kerbin is the title. Technically, to orbit a planet, you'd need to make it around it once. This would be a huge orbit, but... You know, look at this. I mean, we're nearly out to the moon already. Oh no, I need to go around one more time before I figure that out. Okay. That's why it's not high enough. Man. Yep, just not enough altitude to get credit for that mission. Easy enough to fix.
Well,
sometimes not so easy to figure out.
I'm afraid we don't have the fuel to fix that. We might.
My concern now is whether or not I have enough fuel to stretch that out, get credit for it, and then land it. But of course, since I'm showing you this, I did have enough fuel. Just barely.
Let's plan a little burn here.
So, setting up a orbital maneuver.
Like that.
Just a tiny little burn.
At the apogee, because that's the most...
We haven't talked much about orbital maneuvers yet because we've been just doing these little missions. They're really the key to successful spaceflight, in my opinion. Planning out your burns and knowing exactly what you're going to do in advance.
We have enough electric charge to do that. And it says we just need a little bit of burn.
Here's my chance to tell the developers thank you very much for the warp feature.
The time warp and watch this time very carefully.
I wonder if they could build in little nodes to automatically stop the time warp, though. That would be awesome, because this is a tool you can... it can get away from you really fast. Now, something we're not going to run into now, but it'll start being a concern on longer missions, is running out of power. Until we've got solar panels. Alright, so that's the burn. Like 2 seconds. And there we go, we got the orbit mission achieved. Now it's a good practice to clear out the maneuver nodes as soon as you've done it.
There.
Now I'm burning in the opposite direction. And there, get rid of that node. Now we'll hit Kerbin.
Now our orbital path passes right through the planet, so there's no way we could miss.
So nothing to do but return Jebediah.
And here we are.
This triumphant
and we still have a
return to the planet after the first ever
rotate the ship
orbit.
To face toward the
I'm
ground.
so excited about doing all that stuff. I'm not using those goo containers and collecting science.
And I did not set up the key group, so I'm going to lower the legs now.
I thought I needed to set up key groups, which I hadn't done. As it turns out, just hitting the G key is by default set up now to lower and raise your landing gear. It's not that way with solar panels and things. You can bind all your solar panels to a key, but we don't even have those yet, so we definitely don't need to worry about that yet.
Oh, I can't believe I didn't achieve some science. That was stupid. I was so excited.
Alright,
well,
so now I've got a little bit of science from the goo.
To get more science points.
I'll have to try it during, under heavy acceleration and a lot of different things, but we've got a lot of missions.
Okay.
We'll be able to bring goo containers with us. Now this time I saved just a little bit of fuel to see if we can use it to slow us down. I was less than 1,000 feet away from the ground.
Not really necessary.
1,000 meters. I could have crashed right into.
We're falling at 5.9 meters a second. And as I've discovered, these legs can survive. Well, I don't know exactly how much they can survive, but I've survived 7 meters a second. Having Jeb do an EVA report while descending. That is one brave dude. I don't know why he does what Mission Command tells him to sometimes. If it were me, I'd be like, are you serious? There's no way I'm getting out of the ship while we're descending on a parachute. What if there's a gust of wind and I fall off?
So we should be able to recover all this equipment.
But yeah, we get to recover the equipment, and here I thrust just a little bit to slow it down, and success.
Awesome. Now let's observe the mystery goo here.
So we observe the mystery goo on the ground and get a little bit of science.
And that'll do it. Let's recover this
now
vessel.
We recover the vessel. And there we go. We're sitting at 116 science.
And that gets us 29 science. We've got 116. That's going pretty good. 2,413.
And we recover quite a bit of the parts. I wonder if they're giving you credit for parts that were picked up off the ground too. Maybe. Huh.
Where's our money now?
Well, so there we have it.
100,000.
We're sitting at $100,000 and ready to achieve some more missions. And from now on, we should be orbiting and,
I'll end up compressing it, condensing,
you know, starting to do space docking maneuvers and fun stuff like that. So I hope to see you again. And remember, if you're not glued, keep going.